What if the most expensive coin you'll ever own isn't locked away in a museum, stored in a billionaire's vault, or displayed at a prestigious auction house? What if it's sitting unnoticed in a coin jar, buried in a drawer, or mixed in with the loose change rattling around your car's cup holder right now? Law Coins World Washington Quarter Dollar Coins 1995 Every day, millions of Americans spend quarters without a second thought. They use them for parking meters, vending machines, laundromats, and convenience store purchases. To most people, a quarter is worth exactly 25 cents. Nothing more, nothing less. But collectors know something that most people don't. Sometimes a single quarter can be worth a fortune. And today, we're uncovering one of the most mysterious and talked about coins among modern collectors. The 1995 Washington Quarter, a coin that has earned a reputation for extreme scarcity in certain era varieties and has fueled stories of astonishing values reaching as high as $771,000 under extraordinary circumstances. The question is simple: would you recognize it if you had one, or would you spend it without ever knowing what slipped through your fingers? That's the difference between a spender and a collector. One sees pocket change, the other sees opportunity. And in the world of rare coins, that difference can be worth more than an entire lifetime of ordinary savings. The story begins in 1995 at the Denver Mint, where millions of Washington quarters rolled off production lines as part of America's everyday circulating coinage. On the surface, there was nothing remarkable about them. They carried the familiar portrait of George Washington on the front and the classic eagle reverse that Americans had known for decades. They looked ordinary. They felt ordinary. They entered circulation like any other quarter. Yet hidden among those millions were a handful of coins that would later attract intense interest from collectors, not because they were supposed to exist, but because something went wrong. And in the world of numismatics, mistakes can become treasures. History has repeatedly shown that minting errors often create some of the most valuable coins ever discovered. While the United States Mint strives for precision, perfection is difficult when billions of coins are produced. Occasionally, a coin emerges with characteristics that separate it from the rest: a double design, an off-center strike, a dramatic die crack, an unusual die gouge, a striking anomaly, a planchet error. These imperfections transform ordinary coins into collectibles that command attention from advanced collectors around the world. The 1995 Washington Quarter has become associated with several fascinating varieties and production anomalies that continue generating excitement decades after its release. Some examples display unusual doubling in critical design areas. Others reveal distinctive die markers that specialists use to identify scarce varieties. Certain pieces exhibit striking characteristics that make them stand apart from standard circulation issues. To the average person, these details may seem insignificant. To a serious collector, they can mean everything, because rarity is rarely obvious. In fact, the most valuable coins often hide behind ordinary appearances. Here's an attention reset. Think about the last handful of change you received. Did you examine it, or did you immediately put it in your pocket and move on? Most people never look. That's exactly why discoveries continue to happen. Somebody takes a second glance. Somebody notices something unusual. Somebody decides not to assume. And suddenly a coin worth a quarter becomes a coin worth thousands, or more. As collectors studied the 1995 quarter over the years, certain examples began gaining a reputation as what many numismatists call ghost coins. A ghost coin is a piece that collectors know exists but rarely encounter. It appears in conversations, auction discussions, specialized collecting circles, and numismatic publications, yet actual sightings remain infrequent. That scarcity creates intrigue. The fewer examples available, the stronger the fascination becomes. When collectors spend years searching without success, demand often intensifies. And when demand meets rarity, values can move dramatically. The concept is simple. There may be millions of 1995 quarters, but only a tiny number possess the specific characteristics that advanced collectors seek. Those characteristics are what separate ordinary pocket change from elite collectibles. One of the most discussed areas involves die-related abnormalities. Coin dies endure tremendous pressure during production. Over time, stress can create cracks, chips, and distortions that transfer onto coins. In some cases, these defects create visible markers that identify specific scarce varieties. Collectors often spend countless hours studying these tiny details. Why? Because small details can lead to enormous discoveries. Another area of interest involves double design elements. When a die receives multiple impressions during manufacturing that are not perfectly aligned, portions of the design can appear duplicated. Depending on the strength and visibility of the doubling, these varieties may become highly desirable. To an untrained eye, the difference might seem microscopic. To a specialist, it can represent the difference between an ordinary coin and a remarkable find. Now here's something worth considering. Imagine discovering that a coin you carried in your pocket for years was actually a scarce variety sought by collectors nationwide. Sounds impossible? It happens more often than people realize. Rare coins frequently remain unidentified because owners never examine them closely enough. That's why knowledge remains the most valuable tool in collecting. Not luck, not connections, not expensive equipment, knowledge. And speaking of knowledge, there's another critical factor that influences value more than almost anything else: condition. In the coin market, preservation is king. Two identical coins can possess dramatically different values based solely on their condition. A heavily worn quarter may carry only a modest premium. A pristine example preserved in exceptional mint state condition can command exponentially more. Collectors evaluate factors such as luster, strike quality, surface preservation, eye appeal, and overall originality. The highest grade examples often become the centerpieces of elite collections, and competition for those pieces can become intense, very intense. Here's another attention reset. If you have a coin jar somewhere in your home, consider this your reminder. Check it seriously. That jar may contain thousands of coins accumulated over years of everyday transactions. Most will be common, a few may not be. The funny thing about pocket change is that it never announces itself. Rare coins don't glow. They don't make special sounds. They don't come with warning labels that say, "Please don't spend me." They look just like everything else. That's what makes the hunt so exciting. The possibility that hidden value exists in plain sight. And few concepts capture the imagination more effectively than hidden wealth. For many collectors, the appeal extends beyond money. There's history, there's research, there's the thrill of discovery, there's the satisfaction of identifying something others overlooked. Yet there's no denying that financial potential adds another layer of excitement, particularly when discussions turn toward six-figure valuations. And that brings us to the number that captures headlines, the figure that sparks curiosity, the potential value approaching $771,000. Now, it's important to understand what numbers like this actually represent. Extraordinary valuations are generally associated with extraordinary coins. We're talking about the finest known examples, verified rare varieties, exceptional preservation, professional certification, strong provenance, and highly competitive auction environments. These are not typical circulated quarters. These are elite-level specimens occupying the highest tier of rarity and desirability. When those factors align, remarkable prices become possible. And every time a significant coin crosses the auction block, collectors pay attention, because record-setting sales don't just reward owners, they reshape perceptions. They remind the market that rare coins remain powerful stores of value. In recent years, interest in tangible assets has continued attracting attention from investors and collectors alike. Economic uncertainty often encourages people to explore alternatives beyond traditional financial instruments. Rare coins fit naturally into that conversation. They combine history, scarcity, artistry, and market demand in ways few assets can replicate. As collector participation grows, competition for scarce material often follows, and competition is one of the strongest forces driving prices upward. That reality creates urgency, not because everyone will find a six-figure coin, but because opportunities rarely become easier with time. The more collectors enter the market, the more difficult hidden discoveries become. The coins are still out there, but the search is becoming increasingly competitive. Here's another question. How many potentially valuable coins have already been spent simply because nobody bothered to look? The number is probably staggering. Every year, rare varieties disappear into circulation. Every year, collectors make discoveries that others missed, and every year, stories emerge that reignite excitement across the numismatic community. The 1995 Washington Quarter remains part of that ongoing story, a coin that appears ordinary, a coin that most people would ignore, a coin that reminds us how easily value can hide beneath familiarity. Because in collecting, appearances can be deceptive. The most important discoveries often begin with curiosity, with patience, with attention to detail, and with the willingness to look where others don't. As we reach the end of this remarkable journey, remember that every legendary coin was once considered ordinary by someone. Every famous rarity passed through unsuspecting hands. Every extraordinary discovery began with a simple observation, a second look, a closer examination, a question. What if this coin is different? That single question has led to some of the greatest discoveries in numismatic history. So the next time a quarter lands in your hand, don't dismiss it automatically. Study it, learn from it, inspect it carefully. Because hidden wealth has a strange habit of appearing where nobody expects it. And somewhere out there, another remarkable coin is waiting to be found. Maybe it's in a collection, maybe it's in circulation, maybe it's sitting just a few feet away from you right now. And if you think this story is incredible, wait until you hear about the next ultra-rare coin we're covering. Its rarity is so extreme that many collectors spend decades searching without ever seeing one in person. When one finally appears, the entire numismatic community pays attention, and the price tags can be absolutely breathtaking. You won't want to miss that one.